Central. Play smart.
Well,
Central.
here you got some soccer, ladies and gentlemen. We got Central, St. Paul Central versus Eastview, the Lightning. We meet here in Chisago Lakes where the state quarterfinals are well underway. We've had some technical difficulties. Apparently the scoreboard is undergoing a facelift as well. Right now, St. Paul Central is leading against the number 2 seeded Eastview Lightning 3-1 with 25 minutes left in gameplay. My name is Alex Zapp alongside Jake Loftus, and we are going to jump into the action. It was a 2-1 game going into the half, and then Roz Kelly scores his second goal of the state tournament. And this is a kid who had yet to score a goal all season long. You just cannot make this stuff up. A really exceptional evening of soccer by both of these teams. Now, obviously a lot of storylines going into this as they've played through. Eastview's a team that has struggled to score. When you talk about teams in this tournament, obviously a top 10 ranked team all year, the 2 seed in this tournament. They're an exceptional team, but when you're talking about the best of the best, a team that, when push come to shove, did not have necessarily a lead scoring, although they do have Jacob Salmon, one of the best in the entire state, a very good player, all-metro player this past season, awarded to the second team. Besides that, they've kind of searched for guys, and they haven't really found them tonight. Eastview with the ball, and I think St. Paul Central, they're mixing up their looks just a little bit as Owen Brooks grabs that one with his hands. He is in the pink jersey. St. Paul Central in the whites. Eastview in their dark black, dark blue jerseys as well. Big punt near side for Central. They're trying to take this one over, and this is a team, again, they're in a position to really advance. And talking to Coach David before the game, he said, listen, we have all the confidence in the world. This team is loose. They play fun. A lot of really good players on both of these teams. Mix up on the near side. St. Paul Central looking to switch fields, but they can't. The captain for Eastview puts it forward. It was Iyer in the box. Eastview trying to just get a foot going towards the net, and they can't. Lobbed up. Brooks gets it with a chest-high grab. And things will calm down for a moment. Mentioned scoring. Eastview's a team this year. They scored 42 goals. St. Paul Central scored 84. Both teams allowed less than 10 all season long. And St. Paul Central, they only lost one game this past season after going undefeated last year during the regular season until they lost in the semifinals. They ended up getting 3rd place last year in the state tournament. So they are coming back to back. Eastview, this is a team, they haven't been here since 2013. In 2013, they got 2nd. In 12, they got 1st, and in 11, they got 2nd as well. So 2 second-place finishes sandwiched in between a 1st. Pierce Erickson, a very good player for those teams. Now here's a chance for Eastview. It's going to be a corner kick here in their half of the field. Calming things down. It looks like they're going to target the back post. That's where a lot of their players are going. Players tucked in the side. You can't see who's exactly is putting this ball in on a line short. And it's lofted up into the air by Yarrow. And speaking of Mokhtar Yarrow, he's the man that scored besides for the 2 Roz Kelly goals for Central. He scored in the 13th minute, and Kelly scored in the 5th. So really from the get-go, Central has controlled the pace of play. 3 goals scored in the first half, only 1 here in the second. That corner kick fisted away by Brooks, put back in the box by the Lightning, and now finds itself out to half field. And that's where the man, the myth, the legend touches it. Asim El Sayad, maybe the best player for this Central team. 18 goals, 9 assists during the regular season. He had 2 goals during their 3-section playoff games. And he got snubbed. Again, have a lengthy conversation with David Albernaz before this game for Central. Did a feature on them last year. Very good team. Kind of in year 2 of what is a new look, really dynasty in the making. Again, to repeat state performances for a very small school in St. Paul. Very impressive. He said, his team wasn't happy. No mentions. And here's Asim. And he misses the seam towards the right side. Crashing in for Central as well was Abdiraham. but he couldn't get there in time before the netminder for Eastview, Elliott Brown, got to it first. So, continuing that point, Central, technically the 7th-ranked team in this tournament. No players are awarded to the All-Metro first or second team. And now, there's a lot of good players in Minnesota. A lot of good teams, a lot of good performances, but they took it personally. And I think you're seeing a little bit of it here tonight. Again, Eastview, they only had one, and it was on the second team. Solomon, mentioned him earlier. Very good regular season, 23 goals and 5 assists to go with a really good postseason performance so far. 3 goals, 1 assist, but we have not heard from him very much tonight. Again, this is a St. Paul Central 3-1 lead over Eastview here with exactly 20 minutes and 30 seconds left of play. Central, man in midfield, they go near side. Yarrow, he's been very good this game, tries to advance it up to Drivas. He gets intercepted. It looks like we are having more technical difficulties, so we are going to shut down for a moment. We will be back soon.
Come on, Central, make it count, make it count. Let's go, Dylan.
Until then, though, we will talk. This tech staff is working on it. And this is going to be a free kick from the 25-yard line. Booting it for Central will be Barrett. All right, back in perfect time for you here in Chisago Lakes. The 2 seed taking on technically the 7th, and the 2 seed is up 3-1 in the twilight of this game. Inside of 20 minutes, 19:32 to be precise, and we are in state tournament soccer. Best time of the year. Again, my name's Alex Zappa. If you're just getting with us, Jake Loftus, my online engineer and producer. And Central, a team that, again, a little bit of shade thrown their way. They don't play in the toughest section. They don't have the toughest schedule. But a 15-1 record, and you give them the 7th seed. I know Eastview must not have been happy about how this tournament draw out, because you did not want to play this team. They haven't lost since September. They lost the 2nd game of the year to Apple Valley. That was a 2-0 loss. And interestingly enough, Eastview beat Apple Valley in their section final to get in this game. So, again, 2 teams that are played very different schedules. It's very hard to find comparable games to maybe get a feel of how this game was going. That was the game to look at. And so, obviously, Eastview, 13-2 season, though. How do you pick apart what they've done when they play such a difficult schedule? You knew it was going to be close. This game has been close. But the playmakers of St. Paul Central and their scoring have just been too much to handle. Again, St. Paul Central, at one point this season, they scored 22 goals for St. Paul Johnson, which inflates their averages quite a bit. But still, They scored twice as many goals this year as Eastview. So if you had an opinion, shall I say a take, of why Eastview would lose this game, you thought, well, they don't have the elite volume scoring that you saw from Central this regular season. And to this point, it's proven true. St. Paul Central, they've broken the game open, but also not with the guys you would have expected. Again, St. Paul Central, 2 goals scored. The first was scored by Roz Kelly. He didn't have a single goal during the regular season. Mokhtar Yarrow then scored the next goal, a guy who was not one of the higher level goal scorers for this team. He had 2 or less goals this year. I believe he had 2 off the top of my head. And then, again, Roz Kelly again. Roz Kelly scores more goals in the state quarterfinal game than he had in what? I'm trying to count them in my head. In the previous 19 games of the year. That's why you got to show up to these games. You never know what's going to happen. Back to gameplay, Max Hand at the center, trying to work it to the far side of the field, and he gets a little bit of give and go action. Here's Asim. He's maybe the best player in this game. I should say Asem, not Asim, Asem. Asem El Sayed. 18 goals, 9 assists this season. Kind of their elite offensive player up front, and he's been that way. You see the stats, and you think, maybe a slight kid. Nah, this kid's built like a safety, but he's got feet like a ballerina. In ball by Eastview. Header by a Central defender. I believe it was Kelly. So again, Kelly now being tucked back in the formation, but the kid's got 2 goals in the quarterfinal game. The score for the Lightning was Adam Griffiths in the 20th minute. So the scoring went Kelly in the 5th, Yarrow in the 13th, Mokhtar Yarrow that is, Griffiths in the 20th, and that would do it for the first half. And then in the second half, it was Roz Kelly yet again. 16-10 left in the second half of the state quarterfinal game. The 2 seed on the ropes, and they're hanging on by a thread. It's the 10th round, and they only got 2 left to get something done.
That's right.
Near side, Lightning trying to throw it in. And it was a good one by Cade Simikiewicz. Szymanski, I should say. Center of the field, one-on-one battle. Max Hand fighting, and he loses the contest. Loose ball played up by Central. Hall Jr. takes a hit by the Lightning, and now they have the ball, settling things down up front. Yang makes one man miss. His teammate picks him up on the other side. A fancy play by Morales is going to lead to a free kick, and they get it off without a hurry. It should have been offsides. They don't call it. Near side shot, no good. And that's one of those attempts you absolutely have to bury, especially when you're inside of 15 minutes, which we just reached. Settling things down for Central will be the goalkeeper, Owen Brooks, who has been unbelievable this season. He's played the majority of their games. And again, when you only lose 1, you're doing pretty good. This is a team that had 10 shutouts during the regular season and also had a shutout in their quarterfinal game in sections versus Irondale, a very scary team this year. And all close games, and that's what Central's used to. 1-0 win in Irondale in the quarterfinals. Semifinals for the section, 2-1 over Roseville. In the section final, they beat Mounds View 2-1. Now on the other side, you look at Eastview and what they did in the section. 3-rip versus Rosemount, 3-rip versus Creedon, and then a very close game, 4-3 versus Apple Valley. A shot from distance outside of the box is going to go no good, high and wide. Would not have counted for 3 if we were playing football. Sometimes you'll see that. A little high, but wrong sport. Lightning, far side of the field, trying to make something happen. As the twilight comes over the field, and they're wearing black jerseys and dark blue lettering. I'll do my best, but it is very tough to distinguish which player is who. The captain for Eastview, Iyer, steps up. He's contesting. His compete level very good throughout this whole entire game. Through ball by Yarrow. No one there to answer, though. The closest man was Abdiraham. Right side of the field, Yarrow getting in the mix, as well as Albernaz. Walking away from the play is Eastview's Michael Yang. Yang looking for a ball that creeps out his way. Doesn't happen. Booted a long way by Griffiths, who again is the only goal scorer for Eastview so far in this one. A guy that, again, only had one goal during the regular season, but in the state tournament, you never know what's going to happen. Whistle sounds of a free kick from about the 40 in Central's favor. The Minutemen, one of the best logo, or really I should say mascot names in the state, I would say Loftus. You agree? Okay, Loftus isn't big of a fan. Lots a little bit of respect for you right there, Jake, but that's okay. All right, Central, if this is in the box and close, this could be the game-clinching goal. You could argue a header by Albernaz is not going to be of any sort of concern for the keep, Elliott Brown. Brown, he's got a big leg. He's going to use it right there. Through. Dangerous spot for Central, and they are just going to clear. A good idea by Nagel on the back end for the Minutemen. Mentioned earlier, Jacob Salmon, second team All-Metro for Eastview, but he has not put his stamp on this game yet. He had 4 hat tricks this season, 3 other games with multi-scoring games. Really good player, but this Central team, they're fast, they're surprisingly strong. And most of all, I think they also have the chemistry. It's a special bond, it's a special school, it's a special place if you've ever been there. But Eastview, what, their ladies basketball took it home a couple of years ago. This is a school that's also been very hot. Played through. Good job by Yarrow to take away the through ball from the Lightning. They send it into the box. More Minutemen than Lightning, and they will prevail this time. Stretched out to about the 50-yard line. Assem will go and try to chase. He won't be able to get it. Rather, he does. Puts it through. Can you have the wheels to get it? No. 3 versus 1. It's tough to win with those odds, and they don't in this instance.
Way to work, Assem.
10 minutes left in this game, and a couple of seconds as well. Through ball goes out. Not sure which side will take control after. A couple of substitutions for the Minutemen. And the thing, one of the stats I look at when we get to state is explosive scoring. How many games have you scored 5 or more goals? Eastview, only twice this year. St. Paul Central, 6 times. And again, schedule certainly dictates that to a certain extent, but it also, in a sense, mentally, as a team, gives you that confidence that you can show up and do whatever you can sometimes. A good attest by Assem El Sayad. Hand battling with Eastview's Yang. Played out to the side. Londwer was in on it as well. And cleared by Central. They're playing a lot of defense. Here's Assem. Plays it back to the middle. Kelly sends a through ball. Over. Other side. They sold out. Can Central put it away? They do! Max Hand, the senior midfielder, seals the deal, you would think. And the Minutemen of St. Paul take a commanding 4-1 lead in the state quarterfinals here in Chisago Lakes.
525 member schools of Minnesota State High School League wish to extend their thanks and appreciation to the more than 9,000 contest officials and judges for all they do to ensure.
And the many things I discussed with head coach David Albernaz before the game. One of them, as he mentioned, Yassine Inda, number 12. He said, you know what, he didn't have a great week of practice and he missed a practice. I don't think he's going to play. And one of his assistants kind of looked at him squarely and was like, are you sure? And he said, I don't think we're going to need him. And I don't think they did either. What a story. It's not over yet. 8:54 on the clock left, technically speaking. But time sometimes is not enough. Some fancy moves by the Lightning on the far side of the field. Back up to the captain, Iyer. He plays it through. And here's the problem is Eastview, I mean, they're just selling out on the offensive end, that these counterattacks for the Minutemen are pretty extreme. We could have seen a card there. In fact, they might even give him one. It was Diego Sarmiento. And they're going to give him a card. And it was a push. I'll say if it's a closer game, I don't think they give him that card.
Nice
But
counter,
with the
Central.
lead,
Do it again.
maybe didn't have to necessarily do that. They mark him, and so he'll have to come out of the game. And if he gets another one, either this game or next game, he's DQ'd for at least one contest. So once you get to the state tournament, those yellows are very, very important. Regular season, you want to monitor them, yes. In the postseason, they are crucial. If you have a yellow, you absolutely need to change the way you play the game. Here's a big free kick. Left-footed boot. It's going to get through. Finds a head of Central. First, I believe it was Yarrow, and it gets out of at least the danger zone. That can be the box.
Mankato, way to work, buddy.
Let's go, White! Come on, Central!
It's going to be a free kick. They're calling an infraction on Eastview, so Central sends this ball out to the 50. Played back in, contesting both ways, trying to see who wants to come out with it. Handing it on over is Eastview. Throw-in by Szymanski. Being taken down is that Captain Iyer. And he'll get up wearing that green captain sleeve.
Let's go, Central.
Now, left-footed shot by Wilson. He's just going to play it out to the center where there's some space. Looking for someone, anyone, that can get them back in this game, because right now it's a 4-1 St. Paul Central lead here in Chisago Lakes. We got Centennial and Washburn coming up next, which will be a fantastic game. Throw-in. Headed up, but away, out of bounds. 6:55 left in this contest. The Minutemen on top right now. Again, they scored in the 5th minute. They've had the lead the entire game since that point. Got maybe the 2 best offensive players in the entire state coming up in our next game, Centennial and Washburn. You want to stick around for that. Again, our apologies, we got to you late today. Through ball by the Lightning, and a good play by Owen Brooks to recognize the fact that, you know what, his defender was beat. There was going to be at least a shot on goal. If he didn't do something, he steps up, makes a sliding save. Very good awareness by him. A drop kick, gets across the 50. Try to get settled down, and chasing for Central is going to be bump, but it's going to be bumping the other way. Lightning settle it down as they try to just find some type of momentum's not even the right word. They need a miracle at this point. You got 5:45 left, and you need 3 to tie, 4 to win outright. I think they would be just fine if they tied the game from this point. Through ball, good one. It's getting cold out here as well. Temps hovering around 35 degrees. A flailing header by Central's bump, and I think he's up for Best Supporting Actor in a leading role. Through ball by Eastview. Comes up short. Good clearance by Central's McDermott. McDermott again. Played up to Hand. Hand switches fields to the other side. Now it's Hall Jr. who sends a huge through ball. And I think we're going to have offsides on bump, and it will be. Big thing with Central this year, too, is the depth. A lot of guys scoring for this team. 8 players with at least 4 or more goals this year. Eastview only has 2. And again, that's kind of the scoring that we discussed earlier. Central just a deeper roster of guys who have at least statistically put the ball in the net, that have that ability. In Eastview, a heck of a team. They're the number 2 seed in this tournament for a reason. They've been an absolute wagon this season. Scott Gustafson, in his 20th year as coach, has done such a good job. Looks like we're going to have an injury on the far side of the field. The player will walk off under his own power, which is good to see. Substitution will come in quickly, and we will be underway here. .402 left on the clock. A big thank you to our sponsors, who are a huge reason why we are able to do these games. We will get to their messages later on in this broadcast. McDonald's, Hazelton Betty Ford Foundation, countless.
On your toes.
Iyer shot right into the chest of Brooks. Brooks more high than long, lands short, gives Eastview a chance. Alakida should say Alakidi, excuse me. Played it out left, now back through. Salman can't get it. Booted away by the defense. Samariento has been very good. Here's Bump. Now is a dangerous play by the goalie, Elliot Brown. A ballsy play, but it pays off. They're going the other way, are the Lightning. Eastview, under 3 minutes left to score 3 goals. It's possible, but it's not probable. But stay tuned, because if it happens, wow.
The winner of tonight's game will play Tuesday at 2 p.m. at US Bank Stadium.
Great announcement by local PA, and it's true. If you get to state, you still need to win at least one more game before you get to the bank. It's true. So it's kind of a play-in to get to the real dance. I think it's cool to get to state, but all these kids, you really want to just go play in the bank. And you got to win that quarterfinal before you get an automatic 2 at US Bank.
Go Central! Finish strong!
Placed down, 2:10 left, and I can guarantee Owen Brooks is not going to rush this kick whatsoever, but he does in a respectable time and manner.
2 minutes.
Hits the ref, and he's just going to blow it dead and give it to the Lightning. I think that's kind of a makeup call. And Iyer went up, and Eastview literally has no one on the back end. And again, you're not playing to have 5 goals scored against you. You're playing to win. It's a good strategy. Risky, obviously, but at this point, you have to take some risks. Eastview dancing along the right sideline is Karam. Back to Central. Sarmiento sends it a long ways. And then yet again by McDermott. Again, Central just playing some defense, but it has led to some offense. The back end of Eastview, though, doing their best to keep them off the board. Looks like for Eastview there's a player down, so with that we will take a moment to take a break here on our coverage here for state tournament. Check that. We will stick with you here on our coverage. Player got off quicker than we expected. We continue throwing on the far side of the field.
PrepSpotlight.tv in part.
Number 5, Michael Yang in the game for the Lightning.
Michael Yang checks in for Eastview. Lightning had a chance, but Sarmiento, he has been so good at reading those through balls and stepping in front of them. 20 seconds until this game is decided. That one's going to go out of bounds. 15. That kick is technically against the rules. It wasn't on the goal line. Refs obviously are not going to call it. Last-ditch effort. Player goes down. It's not going to matter. St. Paul Central survives and advances 4-1 over the second-seeded Eastview Lightning, team that only lost one game all the way back in September. This could be your dark horse, ladies and gentlemen.
We move on to the semifinal games at US Bank Stadium. St. Paul will play at 2 p.m. on Tuesday.
And as St. Paul Central celebrates, we'll give you a message from our friends here that help us put on such a very cool event, these games.
Working as a team under pressure doesn't only apply to sports. There are also skills learned while working at McDonald's, where you can get financial help to pursue a degree. McDonald's Archways to Opportunity provides tuition assistance to restaurant employees at universities, community colleges, and trade schools. Managers receive $3,000 per year, crew members $2,500. For more info, visit mcdonalds.com/education.
Speed's worth celebrating. Now that's a win. This is beyond Wi-Fi. This is X-Fi.
Are you worried your kid is using alcohol or other drugs? Know the signs. There is hope, treatment works, lives get better, families heal. Turn to the experts at Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation for help.
Are you sick, got the flu, do you feel not right? Hit your head so hard that you lost your sight? Who to call, where to go with your plight? The emergency room, that's right.
Back here at Chisago Lakes, final score will put it up for you. 4-1, a commanding lead and win now at this point for the Minutemen of St. Paul Central. Our Spotlight FVP, MVP of the game as the fans go crazy. How can you give it to anyone else than Ross Kelly? The kid scores 0 goals during the regular season. He scores 2 in a state quarterfinal to get his team to go to the bank. You can't get more clutch than that. His parents were asking him all year, when are you going to score, Roz? When are you going to score? And he said, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Guess what? It just came. 2 goals. Huge. Shout out as well to Mokhtar Yarrow and Max Hand, a very good midfielder for this team. Want to give them some credit as well as one of the most underrated and best coaches in the entire state, David Alberthouse. So that is your Spotlight FVP, MVP of the game. One more break, and then we'll wrap this thing up on the other side.
Working as a team under pressure doesn't only apply to sports. There are also skills learned while working at McDonald's, where you can get financial help to pursue a degree. McDonald's Archways to Opportunity provides tuition assistance to restaurant employees at universities, community colleges, and trade schools. Managers receive $3,000 per year. Crew members, $2,500. For more information, visit mcdonalds.com/education.
Your home for Minnesota high school sports is PrepSpotlight.tv. With dozens of free live stream games each week, catch all the action live or on demand. And if you miss an episode of Minnesota Prep Spotlight, you can see them all right here on PrepSpotlight.tv.
Splash, splash, splash. Apply a little splash. When your windshield's getting dirty, just apply a little splash. When your windshield's full of grime, bugs, dirt, and snow, just use a little splash and be safe on the road. Splash, splash, splash. Apply a little splash. When your windshield's getting dirty, just apply a little splash. See safely on the road when you apply a little splash.
Go higher than high school at Normandale.
Are you worried your kid is using alcohol or other drugs? Know the signs. There is hope, treatment works, lives get better, families heal. Turn to the experts at Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation for help.
Go higher than high school at Normandale.
Thank you for sticking with us here in our coverage here on PrepSpotlight.tv. Your final score, 4-1. St. Paul Central, the Minutemen, own the night and take a commanding lead. Eventually turned into a win behind the efforts of Roz Kelly, 2 goals. Mokhtar Yarrow, who scored the second 8 minutes after the first, which was scored in the 5th minute. So really, Central took control of this game early. Aiden Griffiths in the 20th minute, though, gave the Lightning a little bit of a jolt that they needed halfway through that first half. And I bet at halftime, they thought, you know what, we are not out of this game yet. But then, second half, Central, Roz Kelly, his second of the game, and then Max Hand, a senior, gets really the one that kind of bit them right in the leg. It was in the 70th minute. You're down 3 with about 10, 15 minutes left. It's tough to come back from. That'll do it here. We have another game underway as you see the players getting ready and warming up. Minneapolis Washburn, a program that has been so good for so long. They will take on the second seed, or rather, Eastview Lightning. They are the second seed. This is going to be Washburn, the 4th seed, versus Centennial, the 5th seed. That 4-5 matchup, always so fun to see. You'll see and hear it next on these airwaves. So if you like high school soccer, stay here for all of the coverage as well as other games that we've already showed and later on this week throughout all of the state tournament. We'll have it for you here on Prep Spotlight TV. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Again, St. Paul Central, the Minutemen, survive and advance. You will see them at the bank come Tuesday.